In HR, we like to say, do not do inappropriate things at work.
Yeah. Advice to live by.
It's true.
But I think there's some fine print you can put right below that says, especially do not use company email systems to conduct inappropriate behavior at work.
Yes, God, yes.
Oh, yeah. Don't recommend it.
Because I
Yeah.
had heard a story from someone that I used to work with. And these people, being in HR, hear all the stories. Now having an HR podcast or otherwise, you hear a lot of stories. You'll never believe this. Like, I probably will, but sad but true. But there was somebody at their workplace. And this person was known as a, Lothario would be is that how you pronounce it? Like the sleeping around with lots of people at work, lots and lots and lots of people at work, and always kind of going for the new crowd. Like you kind of imagine what he was probably like in college, like waiting for freshman orientation type.
Oh.
The Matthew McConaughey-esque kind of.
All right.
The girls get younger, but I stay the same age. And kind of like,
oh, yeah. Gross.
apparently, not well-kept secret. Like sometimes we've talked about stories of like, oh my God, people found out about this long after the fact. People kind of knew that this was happening. Thankfully, he didn't manage anybody. But eventually, he was terminated from employment for inappropriate behavior at work. And apparently, there were a lot of things that could have happened beforehand. Comments, offhand comments, all of these things. But what did him in was Microsoft Outlook. Because in addition to hitting on like the new employees and doing this thing, he sent one a meeting invite. And that meeting invite was very vague. It was titled, BJ in the bathroom. At 10 o'clock, let's say 10 o'clock, not sure the exact time. And it didn't say BJ. I understand. It said the whole thing.
Wow.
Through the company's email system.
Oh, my God.
Wow. Oh, wait, did the other person accept it?
I think they screenshotted it, printed it, and showed it immediately to the manager. And I think that was it. And I understand pretty shortly thereafter, escorted out from the premises.
Oh, my gosh.
And I think the defense to that likely was, as I understand it, like, oh, it was just a joke.
Was it?
That's not a defense that works like people think it might be after the fact. But anyway, so just take that lesson. Don't do inappropriate things at work, but definitely don't send a meeting invite.
Oh, my gosh. What could he have called that? I may have just said, like, head time. I don't know.
Well, Hit the Head was our Cringe corporate speak from season 2, I want to say.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Touch base.
Yeah, touch base.
I'm getting fired. Send the meeting invite for that 10 a.m. at 10:01, and I'm getting fired at 10:01. Except that one is, yep. That really did stand out to me of something I did have a hard time believing, but I did, and totally.
Wow. Ain't that something?
Sadly, it's not actually surprising. The surprising part is that they were dumb enough to put it in a meeting invite on their work computer.
Yeah. Like, think about all the activity that happened to that point to get to the point where they felt comfortable enough doing that. And it happens.
It does happen.
Again, this goes back to something we've talked about multiple times on this podcast, is it's amazing the things that people put into their work email. And HR will tell you, you can never be surprised. There's a reason we don't monitor people's emails like people I think we do. We don't have time, number one.
Oh, yeah. We don't have time to do that shit.
But also, like, you do not want to go into those cesspools sometimes.
DSW, Designer Shoe Warehouse, is the one-stop shop for all your footwear needs. With sneakers, boots, and everything in between for every style, mood, and occasion, you'll definitely find shoes that get you at prices that get your budget. DSW has what you need, but more importantly, they have what you didn't even know you wanted. You never know what you'll find at DSW. Find the shoes that get you at prices that get your budget at DSW stores or DSW.com. Taking on a DIY job around the house is the ultimate summer project. But if your DIY home security system is a beware of dog sign, when your real pet is Princess the cat, that's safe-ish. To be actually safe, help protect your home with a DIY system from ADT. It's easy to install and gives you virtual assistance from ADT's technical support team. Best of all, you can tell everyone in the neighborhood you set it up yourself. Don't settle for safe-ish this summer. DIY with ADT instead. Visit ADT.com to learn more.
Well, on that note, the hot topic of today is all about remote work. Let's do a quick run through of the agenda, shall we? First up, Cringe Speak. And I am handling that one today. And then we will shift into our hot topic of today's meeting, which is all things remote work and how remote work, boy, it really doesn't mean flexibility so much, does it?
Not anymore.
Not anymore. Gosh, they pitched it as freedom and flexibility, but it's turned into some surveillance and some bullshit. So we're going to turn that inside out. And then, as always, before that hard stop, we will have some questions and comments at the end. Cringe corporate speak. I'm up at bat for that one today. And today I have getting granular. Let's get granular. Now, guilty as charged. I love some fucking granularity at work. I love putting it in all the tenses. I mean, I love granular. Let's get granular. Let's go granular. I mean, so I need some granularity on this. All the things, you know. All I'm saying, though, is I need some frickin' detail. Okay? We need to get in the weeds on this one right here. Like, I mean, ooh, you know, but I just, something about it. I love the way it feels in my mouth when I say it, I guess.
That is what she said.
I actually don't think that that's cringe. Granular is cringe. Because I do think it's one of those things that you can say and it sounds really smart. And so sometimes we say it in a meeting. Sometimes we say, do not say this word in a meeting. It's a bad thing that needs to go away. I think granular sounds better than in the weeds. Like in the weeds, well, in the weeds is like busy or you're like going too into the muck. Granular's like those pretty, like, I think like the 30A, you know, Jamie, like nice pieces of sand. Leigh hasn't been to 30A yet. Most beautiful beaches in the world.
But fancy sugar.
Yeah, like the fancy sugar, like good sugar.
Yes, not the cheap shit.
No.
Yeah, love the granularity.
Do you ever say it, Jamie?
No, but I've used stuff similar, like microscope.
Microscope.
Yeah, like we need to look at this under a microscope, like really get into the data or, you know, because I am a data nerd. So,
you know, that reminds me of the microscope, because I too recently got my kids, who is like a teenager and a tween, a microscope to like learn about science. And let me tell you who was most excited about that, me.
So you bought it for yourself.
Yeah, because I thought, oh my God, I haven't looked at a microscope in forever. That's fun.
They are cool.
But I don't know if this is how it was for you. And I love the Louisville Zoo. I love zoos. I love the Louisville Zoo growing up, all those things. Sydney Zoo, fantastic. But in the zoo growing up, when you went on field trips, you'd go to this room that had like microscopes to look into, and it always had a smell to it. Like it smelled like, not like the elephant, not that kind of smell. It just had this like, even in like the 80s and 90s, it smelled like the 1970s.
Like musty?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like a dirty Bunsen burner.
Oh, yes.
You know, it's that like burnt, toxic smell mixed with mold.
Yes. So when I got this microscope, that was my thought, because, you know, they say the sense of smell is the strongest one and it carries across years. But it didn't smell like that. But when I looked at it, I could smell that again, and I put it away pretty quickly.
I'm going to buy a microscope, do some science.
I'll send you mine.
Right? Shit. It's all dusty somewhere. Oh, dusty and musty.
It's like perfume all over. You're like, why is this actually trying to make it smell good?
Ah, shit. All right. Well, the hot topic of today. Remote doesn't mean flexible anymore, does it, ladies?
Sadly.
I know. What does it mean? What is happening with remote work? Is it bullshit? Is it a fallacy? Is it faux?
I saw a meme actually just yesterday where it said, how did we fumble the bag on remote work so bad? And the comment underneath it was like, because all y'all got on the internet making videos about how you were doing anything but work. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of true.
You've made some of those. Have you made some of those videos?
Yes, I have definitely made some of those.
Oh, we ruined it, of course.
You know what's funnier is I usually made those on weekends too. And I would like put it in the caption, typically because it got back to work that I was making videos. And I was like, I swear to God, I didn't. Like, I actually don't have time to make videos at work. But, you know.
Some of our friends on social media that we're actually friends with, some of them have made those videos that probably unintentionally hurt the cause a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
And more and more, right? We see organizations because we fucked it up, pulling remote work. And we have the RTO, right? Everyone's returning to office or the workplace, and big trend there. So yeah, we did screw that up, didn't we? Just a little bit.
How was it when you first started working remote, and how did you see that change?
I started working remotely with COVID, right? Because literally we were pushed out of the workplace. And it was an adjustment for a lot of people, more so for leadership. Because, of course, a big part of leadership is being with your people and seeing your people. And at that point in time, people had only really done that role traditionally with an in-person, at least in my organization, an in-person crowd, So it's kind of like, okay, how do I do this, But yeah, that's when I started working remotely. And because it was COVID, when COVID first hit, I had some 24-hour days. I remember taking calls at 2 a.m., 4 a.m. I mean, we were really trying to figure out how to keep the doors open for our customers, the community, globally, all the things. And so for our employees, our livelihoods, for ourselves, because everything just stopped. Recall, it was recall back to that time. It was pretty dark and scary. But we were behind the scenes doing that. So remote started for me as something that was not flexible. That was torture. It was work, constant, weekend, everything, nights. So starting there and then trying to reel it back, that was hard. So I didn't have a lot of flexibility with my remote experience until I actually got a job that was remote on purpose.
Did they talk about that when you had that job? What were the differences and how were those discussed? Were you setting boundaries, or were there things that the employer side did or other leaders did to help to support that? What was the difference when you were in that intentional remote job?
There was just no relo at the time. It was still kind of in the COVID years. It took a while, right? Kind of years there to get to normal. We're not even there. I don't know. It's tough, right? But yeah, just everyone was dispersed because of the effects post-COVID. There was no definition of anything. It was like people in that organization, different organization, were still working as intensely remotely as they were in person because it was a startup.
Yeah, which is often remote for different reasons. Again, not flexibility doesn't tend to be the number one.
The devil couldn't reach me, so I worked at a startup. But it was terrible.
What about you, Jamie?
I actually didn't work remote till 2022, and it was the job that I was just let go from because during COVID, I worked for a nonprofit and we were a healthcare clinic. And so we were all still on site during that time. So that was my first, and same thing, it was a startup and everyone was pretty much remote. My role was a little bit different, as in the company was headquartered in Nashville. So I would go to the office at least 1 to 2 days a week. I will say that died off even for a while, because our office used to actually have 30 or 40 people who would go in a couple days a week. And it was actually nice to go in because it was that's where my turtles, they were turtles at the office, and I would feed my turtles, and I actually enjoyed going in. But I don't know now, though, when I go back to corporate, it's got to be remote, honey. I don't think I can do it again. The drive alone, the commute part was the worst part of all of it. Is sitting in your car for 2 hours and then doing it all over again that night just to go home. And for what? And I think that's why I've enjoyed remote so much. It's even something silly like having to take off a half day of PTO because I'm having a couch delivered or I have a plumber coming. Remember those days? And now working remote, I don't have to do that. I will say there was flexibility in that aspect for me, but I never had the chance to truly quote unquote abuse it. My day was just back-to-back meetings. I wasn't able to go shopping and bring my laptop and, move my little mouse around, unfortunately. I think there was proven facts that productivity was actually better from those that were working remote. I think, unfortunately, is then you have all these return to office and you had all these leadership teams deciding to turn on things like, statuses, and people got mouse jigglers, and there's just this whole flip now. and maybe some of it's because of social media, and maybe it's just a control thing for companies. And I saw something interesting the other day, and I apologize, I don't remember where I saw it, maybe Morning Brew, but they showed that Gen Z actually wants to work a hybrid schedule more than any other generation. That Gen Z wants to work hybrid. They want to have some time in the office. And I'm like, I get that, because they probably want to be close to their manager for, that maybe they're new to their career.
They need the FaceTime.
Yeah, they need that FaceTime.
I think it's social engagement too. I mean, it's
Isolating.
Yeah, I work at home. Now my husband is our chief customer officer for Manager Method. We're on 2 different floors, and we can go hours and we don't see or talk to each other. And so I do that. I work remotely for running the business, and I miss that. I've gone to co-working spaces and things like that just to be around other people, because I do think there's a lot of convenience to it, but there's also a lot of psychological impacts to it. The commute aspect made me chuckle a bit, Jamie, because I was talking to someone recently, and at their work, they were debating whether to go back to the office, to go, to do remote, to do hybrid. And they ended up with a largely remote structure. But part of what they were all asked to do, I'm not kidding you, was to map out their commute, of what their commute was if they were going to go back to the office, and an ask that they spend, I think it was half their commute time working. So we're going to give you the time back. But this is, and I remember the friend was I was like, how did that go? She's like, exactly as you would think. People are like, what do you mean? I'm getting, so what, I'm going to buy a PO box right next to the office and be that's where I live. I live in this little space. But I do think in organizations, if you think about remote work as a benefit, which it can be, but in thinking about, okay, how can we support people in working remotely, and come from that end, as opposed to flipping it and saying okay, well, because you're doing this, right? You should be available more, and you should be accessible in all hours. And managers, the big question I get is, well, how do we measure our team's productivity? If I can't get a hold of my team member, in the past, I can put my head around the corner and they're right there. And often I'll say yeah, sure. But also sometimes they may be in the middle of something. And all of a sudden, those quick pop-ins, which it's not just you as their manager, it's all sorts of people. And that can end up in person a lot lower productivity as well. And so it's one of the reasons that having carved out times for your team is, in my opinion, an absolute must at all times, but including when you're working remotely, because, a lot of those questions about measuring productivity or, how do I have engagement? There's ways that you can address that. But if you just flip your lens to say, how is remote work talked about at the senior levels of leadership, or the people that have the most influence? And are we talking about it as something that we don't trust people, or is it talking about something that we need to support people in? And I do think the winning organizations are in the latter aspect. Do you ever wish that you had an HR legal bestie in your pocket? 650 is just that. Your trusted, always available ally for your employment law questions, minus the hefty price tag of a lawyer. Compliance may not be your favorite chore in HR, but it's important and it's hard. But 650 is here to make it easy. With 650, managing multi-state HR compliance is a breeze. Their tools help you to understand complex state laws and craft compliant documents effortlessly, but also keep everything up to date automatically. They have a comprehensive "What's the law in this state" library to a 50-state employee handbook builder. 650 turns compliance into convenience. So, HR pros juggling multi-state teams, simplify your compliance today. Visit 650.com/besties. That's SIXFIFTY.com/besties, and discover how to stay ahead with 650's seamless solutions.
Look, I'm just trying to live up to the version of me my dogs think that I am, assuming I've got it all together. Meanwhile, I'm Googling, can dogs eat watermelon? Which I legitimately had to Google last week. Thank you, my children. Realizing then we're out of food and I forgot flea meds. Chewy had both and delivered fast. Now they're well fed and itch free and still think I have it all under control. Thanks, Chewy. With over 100,000 products from top pet brands, Chewy makes it easy to find everything from food and treats to beds and toys, all delivered to your door 1 to 2 days. They also carry supplies for birds, fish, reptiles, and other small pets. AutoShip lets you schedule reoccurring deliveries of the essentials you need most, so you never run out. It's flexible, easy to manage, and can be changed or canceled at any time. And with their 100% satisfaction guaranteed, you can return any item within a year, no questions asked. I spend way too much time running to the pet store, usually last minute, but Chewy completely changed the game for me. The selection is wild, and I swear they have every brand for my picky pets will actually eat and then some. I found everything from treats to toys to supplements I didn't even know I needed. Chewy has everything you need to keep your pet happy and healthy. And right now, you can save $20 off your first order and get free shipping. Go to chewpanions.chewy.com/@HRBestiesPod. That's chewpanions.chewy.com/@HRBestiesPod to save $20 off your first order with free shipping. chewpanions.chewy.com/@HRBestiesPod. Minimum purchase required. New customers only. Terms and conditions apply. See site for complete details.
You said something interesting. You said in some organizations, remote work is seen as a benefit. Who is it really benefiting? I think it mostly benefits the organization. Like Jamie was referencing research about remote workers being more productive, because I do think there is, with remote work, this like illusion of flexibility. And what I've experienced, at least with remote work, is that the majority of people make themselves constantly accessible. Like there is no defined work day anymore. Work can be any time now. That's why boundaries so important. Because really, you're paying an employee, I'm just going to say for 8 hours a day, right? Let's just make a generalization. It's 8 hours, no matter where it is, you know? And I think some people instantly think, well, because, they get to wear pajama pants, I should have 9 hours or 10 hours. Or if I'm still working as a leader at 7 p.m., I should be able to ping them and get to them. And because, it's just casual, like we're just home. Like we lost almost the formality of work because of remote work and, its rampant introduction and now use, a lot more than before anyway. And it's just, I don't know, that part's just fascinating to me, that like kind of, it's just blurred. We're almost just like animals now with it, Like why did those boundaries leave? Why did those boundaries go away? Why are they no longer respected as much as they were before? Because it's less effort now to get ready for work and to drive to work. And I don't know. I just swirl with that sometimes. I just think about that like, God.
Yeah.
Because I don't have to spend money on gas now. Like, so you can call me at 8. Like what? You know what I mean? Like it's...
The question of benefit, I think, is it can be both. It can and should be to both. I do think it's a benefit to the company if you're not spending money on real estate, which is often the number one driver that you want people back because you're locked into long-term leases. But then the second is for employees, you can have flexibility, productivity, like not having that commute time, not having that, but you have to make it really support those things, because I do think there's this expectation of if it's on a device or you have a laptop with technology, people are able to. And so it's a little bit like out of sight, out of mind. If you're working in person, when people are gone, then you're used to being in the office thinking about them. So, you're not thinking about them. But when all of your interactions are through a screen, then you think about that person. I'm thinking about them as available throughout the workday. And I think leaders oftentimes do think, I'm working, so should they. And there is just this mistrust of like, I don't even know what they're doing during the day. And so, I'll reach out at this time. I've seen leaders who like try to reach out with a ping at like 6:45 p.m. while someone's making dinner. And that employee's frustrated, that leader's frustrated. And so I think a lot of times just setting up dedicated time can do away with a lot of those last minute pings.
I think it's important too, like as a leader, as a business, recognizing that this isn't going to fix your culture. Remote work, it may not even fit in your culture. I mean, honestly, but if you're burning people out in person, like that burnout just relocates It's just they're going to be burned out at home too, working remote. You got bigger problems, you know? Oh gosh, it's definitely not a cure-all, that's for sure.
Hey, it's Paris. You know I love sparkly things, right? Like stars. Duh. And thanks to Hilton and AutoCamp, I just slept under them. Picture me serving looks by the fire outside my luxurious Airstream, making s'mores with the kids, while a national park is our backdrop. The great outdoors meets Hilton hospitality. That's hot. Explore all the new ways to stay at Hilton.com. Hilton for the stay.
Hey, business owners, we know you know the importance of maximizing every dollar. With the Delta SkyMiles Reserve Business American Express card, you can make your expenses work just as hard as you. From afternoon coffee runs to stocking office supplies and even team dinners, you can earn miles on all your business expenses. Plus, you can earn 125,000 bonus miles for a limited time through October 29th. The Delta SkyMiles Reserve Business Card. If you travel, you know. Minimum spending requirements and terms apply. Offer ends October 29th, 2025.
Well, because we do have a hard stop. Any questions or comments?
I think remote work really all boils down to trust these days, right? And so it's, do you trust your employees? Is the work getting done? And is it only getting done in an 8-hour day? Like, I don't know. When I was a manager in the remote work setting, I was never obsessed with my employees' status. Like if it was red, green, or yellow. Like I would still ping you like if it was during the workday, but I never looked at it. I never cared about it. It just wasn't important to me. But I had leaders that would, right? That would be like, hey, well, she's been on yellow. I'm like, okay, well, like God forbid she go to the bathroom or go for a mental health walk or, so I think as leaders, we need to trust that our employees are doing what they're supposed to do until it becomes an issue. And then we got to get granular.
Oh, I like it. I like it. Ashley, anything?
I'll say one remote situation that I had that was really beneficial and worked out really nicely is when I had my second child, the company had literally just instituted paid maternity leave, paid parental leave, like literally a month before I had my son.
Nice.
Oh, thankful.
Yeah, it was great. And it was like 6 weeks. And so combining that with, paid time off and the short-term disability, cobbling everything together that we have to cobble in the US, I basically got like 2.5 months off, basically. But my coworker, who was senior to me, she had previously done this where she took 2 months off, fully off. And then the last month she worked half days from home and had a laptop and just did half days from home. And so she had told me about this and she's like, we can totally set this up. And so for your last month, if you want, like you can do whatever you want, but I did this. And so I can funnel you work that I know because she was senior to me, but shared a job. And she's like, I can funnel you work so you won't have to get on any calls. And you can just do this work 4 hours a day. It doesn't matter when the baby's sleeping. And so you can have that extra month at home. And it was so helpful. Things like that. It's a high trust environment. Like that, a single example shows so much, in addition to like the lack of paid parental leave in the US. But from a payment perspective, all of this allowed, I ended up getting basically full pay throughout maternity leave, which meant a lot to us financially. But also I was able to, get my head back in the game, work on things a bit. It helped me to ease back in. But having a colleague like that sets up that system, makes it a system, and then you do it. So in organizations, if you've never thought about structures like that, again, you have to have the conversation of like, take all the leave you want, do what you want. But if you can think about some of those creative solutions and do that and have colleagues that trust each other and send that, that made such a difference to me. And I still tout that. That was 11 years ago.
Love that. Why can't we be creative in that way? We can. Well, not a question from me, but just a quick comment. I truly believe that remote work isn't broken, but the way we manage it is. And that's because we collectively, as a workforce, our leadership or management styles and expectations haven't caught up to the different ways our employees work now. So there's still really the easy button of management, of visibility, like seeing people instead of really connecting with them and talking to them. That was always the pushback from leaders of mine that I supported on remote work. Well, I can't see them, so definitely this control thing, but just that the optics, the visibility, literally the visual of people. And my coaching was always, well, why can't you shift your style to something that can accommodate everybody and every type of worker? You know what I mean? So I think we still have a long ways to go there, but I think that's what it is that you can't tell your people, oh, you can work from anywhere and then expect full accessibility. You need to flex as a manager or leader and just adopt a different way of managing, and employees lean in, right? Make sure you are responsive, and make sure you aren't just ghosting with your 10 other jobs you're doing and your mouse jiggler. Well, thank you, besties. I'm glad we could get granular on this topic today. I love the granularity.
Bugs crashing your pack's party? Whether they've got paws or sneakers, your pack deserves a home that's protected from pests. That's where Wondercide comes in. Plant-powered protection made with steam-distilled natural essential oils that actually work. It kills and repels fleas, ticks, mosquitoes, and ants without questionable ingredients or overpowering smells. Safe to use around kids and pets when used as directed. Lab-proven to work fast. And proudly made in the USA. We offer sprays for pets, people, homes, and yards. Plus, spot-on treatments, collars, and even shampoos. Whatever your pack needs, we've got it covered. Founded by a pet parent looking for a better way to protect her dog Luna, Wondercide's now protected over 21 million lives and counting. You might have even seen us on Shark Tank. Go to Wondercide.com and use code WONDER20 for 20% off your first order. That's WONDER20 at Wondercide.com. Wondercide. Protect your pack with plant-powered Wondercide today.